It's the most one-eyed podcast.
It's what we're here to do.
It is.
There is only one side in this competition. It's game-changing.
It's absolutely game-changing, Deebs.
Riddle me that, mate.
Yeah, riddle me that, Deebs.
Do you remember? It's what we're here to do.
This is True Bloods, the #1 independent Sydney Swans fan podcast, and we are coming to you live from the Clovelly Hotel. Megs has put us up here, so big shout out to Megs, and I'm joined as always. To my left, we've got Clarko. How are you, Clarko?
Yes, Deebs, I'm well. I'm bloody happy to be here. It's good that they've turned it on. The Mykonos, as we call it, boys, has turned it on. They've stopped the rain. And we've got Polly here as well. It's good to see you.
I'm glad you woke up here. The rain has stopped and it's beautiful, and this is what it's always like up here, really.
That's right.
Well, I think it's a bit of a false economy, that one. It's been raining up here the last month, I've heard, lads. So we are joined by three of the Swannies' best as well. The founders of Doozy Drinks as well. We've got Ollie Florent, Isaac Heeney and Will Hayward joining us live on the pod. Welcome, boys. Thanks for coming in.
Sweet. Thanks for
having us. Pumped to be here.
Yeah, very good, very good. It's now let's get into the footy to start off with. Probably not the start we've been looking for. Sitting 4-7. How have you found it so far? And you're looking forward to righting the wrongs this week against the Crows.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's been one of those years. It's sort of been a tough start of the year. It's been we've been inconsistent. We've had plenty of injuries, and I think the nicest thing with the Swans always, no matter where we're at, what we're doing, we're a really close-knit group. So whether we go through the highs or the lows, we do it together, and it's actually still really enjoyable to be at the club. Coxie's obviously new coach, and he's brought a lot of his ways in, but at the same time kept the boys extremely close, and he's got a great relationship with the fellas too. So yes, it's tough, especially after coming off the back of a year like last year, but at the same time it's still really enjoyable, and hopefully we can, like I said, bounce back this weekend.
I guess based on that, and Will, maybe you can answer this one, in terms of the difference between Horse and Coxie. I mean, Coxie had been at the club for a significant period of time with Horse. What's sort of the major differences been?
I think when we've been part of such a successful team for a really long time, so Coxie didn't necessarily need to come into the club and
make wholesale change
and flip the game plan. He's got a blueprint there of what success looks like, but just tweaking a few things that he thinks we can improve on, which he's done. And on top of that, like Haynes touched on, he's got a really good relationship with the boys. He's really balanced. You can have a laugh with him, and then he can hit you between the eyes when you need to be hit between the eyes as well.
Have you been hit between the eyes?
Oh yeah, plenty of times. Yeah, 100%. But it comes from a good place, and that it's not. It's easy not to take stuff personally when it comes to him, but you want to you want to play for him, and we certainly want to get a few more wins for him.
Yeah, sure. Good to hear.
Looking forward to this week, coming up against Adelaide, which I'm sure will be fun for you, Will. What's sort of the game plan going in? How are you guys feeling coming off a loss?
Yeah, we've there's a 6-day break, so we tried to get our review last week done, and that was tough. We obviously weren't at our best at all. So the good thing about footy is there's always another week to rectify, and we've got a big focus on what we do well, but also what some of their strengths are and how we as a team can all support each other on the field. And I'm expecting a much better performance from the boys this week for sure.
For sure. And look, Ollie, it hasn't gone your way this week at selection, but with a bit of adversity comes some opportunity as well, mate. Probably hasn't been the start of the season that you're looking for, but back to the VFL this week, and opportunity to go out there and perform, isn't it?
Yeah, it's obviously been a little bit of a tough start to the year form-wise, but I think it's important to not sort of turn the toes up and just understand that it's all part of being a professional athlete, and you go through form periods where things aren't going your way, and right now it's not going my way, unfortunately, but I'm just trying to dig deep and get back to what I do best. And
Yeah, for sure, and hats off to you, mate. I think there's not every professional athlete would rock up for a podcast like this after being dropped the night before. So hats off to you, mate. And I've got no doubt it's going to turn around for you.
God, I see.
The nicest thing, I'll touch on that quickly. The nice thing with Ollie and majority of the boys is obviously a hard worker. So you'll see him out there. He's always doing the extras. He's always trying to improve his game, whether it be physically, in the gym, out on the track, or mentally too, working with Emma Murray or other people. So he'll be back. We're not worried about that. So he's a good fella, and those sort of people to have on your team. So
just looking at sort of, I guess, it's really nice. Really nice of just looking at
off camera.
Clip that up, get that going.
when something like that happens, when there are changes like that through omission, is not necessarily in your case, Ol, but is there a relatively long conversation sort of going through why that's been the decision, or is it sort of circumstantial depending on what's happening?
Oh, I think for my circumstance, it's obviously I wasn't really surprised or anything.
Yeah, right.
I
Okay.
sort of understood where I sat, and but yeah, you do have a conversation with the coaches, and you do have a follow-up conversation about how you're going to get back in the team and what you need to do to
That's awesome.
get back to your best. And but yeah, sometimes there is tactical decisions where they play taller or something like that.
Yeah, sure.
So you could miss out that way. But I think mine was purely just off form, and no surprises. But yeah, I'll be back to it. Yeah,
That's good. I think that's the important thing. It's how you're going to get back into the team. And it seems like the Swannies are pretty good and nurturing in that regard.
Yeah, boys, like us looking from the outside, it looks like we're struggling a little bit forward of the ball. Those entries inside 50. Is that sort of a big focus going into this week? They're a solid defence, the Adelaide Footy Club. Got some good young players back there. Is it sort of... Well, what's the ideology going into the game? Is it sort of lowering the eyes going inside 50, or trying to isolate, say, Haynes as that one out in the forward line? Can you give us a little bit of an insight into how we might look going forward this week?
Yeah, it's definitely that. Something we've touched on. Our connection ahead of the ball has definitely been a bit off. There's plenty of reasons why. One being some average entries, and then others being our forwards aren't being dangerous and we're not creating clear options for the kicker. So it's sort of a team focus, which is something we're aware of. Whether when Isaac's down there, we all try and isolate him and get out of his way, and he tells us to piss off. So,
That's right.
but that's part of it. We understand he's a massive, that's a massive strength of his game, is his one-on-one contested marking. So when we as forwards see Isaac down there, we don't usually need to be told to move. We just sort of try and subtly get our defenders out of his way and try and isolate that one-on-one.
Haynes, has Nick Davis been a good influence on you in terms of explaining how to tell other people to just clear the forward line for your good self?
As you probably know, he does love himself. He'll tell them, anyone to get out of the way. But he's been awesome. I think on Davo, I've known him since I was 14, 15, coming through the academy. So I've got a really, really good relationship with him. He's taught me how to kick. Or try and kick straight anyway. I do my best at that, but he's awesome. He's great in the club. He will tell you about his Geelong final though, which is
really
sick of hearing.
What happened there? I've got no idea. You could have had one of the great games against Carlton. It was phenomenal in its own right. But yeah, if you would kick straight, you're on bloody fire the day.
Yeah, it was not. We had a good win. It was a good, consistent performance, but I think. Yeah, it's a tough one. I felt like I had a decent performance, but at the same time, I could have probably put the game to bed a bit earlier and not stress until the last couple of minutes of the game. So that in itself is a bit frustrating, but at the same time, I feel dangerous getting shots on goal. And generally, I feel like I'd kick majority of those on the day. It was just not to be, but yeah.
How does the decision come to you for going to mid or going forward? When does that sort of decision happen within the game, and who relays that to you, I guess?
Coxie's been really good at. It's nice. He kind of lets me kind of do my own thing, whether that be in the guts and running around, or having a swap with a forward and getting those fellas involved, and I can go and sit deep. And it's probably more dependent on if I need a rest, if I'm gassed in the midfield and not moving as well as I'd like to be. It's like get one of the other fellas in, give them confidence to be around the footy, but also give them that spark to be in there, whether it be defensively. Or attacking, and then if I can sit one out and hopefully, if I don't win it, bring it to ground and we get a contest or bring some of the other boys into it, then hopefully I can do that.
For sure. And Wilbur, your year so far, mate, sort of starting to really get into the game a little bit more, I feel, leading up at the ball well. Is it sort of a case of you sort of building your game off your defensive pressure? I think you do that really well. You're capable of sort of taking out one of their defenders if required and then heading them back the other way. Is that sort of more of that this weekend?
Yeah, I think when I'm playing my best, it usually starts from some defensive acts, and that gets me into the game. I think like I started off a bit slow, but I think probably the last month I've started to get going a bit, and hopefully I can keep building this week. And like as I said before, a big thing is just constantly moving as a forward and being dangerous and making it clear for the kicker that I'm an option other than just being easy to play against. So that's sort of my focus this week, and Haynes will kick it to me every time, he said.
It's the great Juzzy's 100th. We were sort of doing some vox pop stuff outside Swans HQ. If you can just all three of you give me a couple of words on the great Juzzy.
Eyebrows.
Well groomed.
Nah, he said well groomed.
No.
I'd probably say pest.
I got a word, but I don't want to say it.
Please say it.
We love Juzzy. He's unbelievable. Like his energy, and I'm just so flat that I'm not out there this week for his 100th. He's such a good guy, and he's playing some really good footy, and champion. Yeah,
well, he's so important to the side, isn't he? I think when we sort of lost him for that 6-week period last year, we weren't playing our best footy. He's that connection piece going forward, and when he's...
Careful here, because he'll listen to this and he's already got a massive head.
But he really connects the group, and he's one of the guys who probably has the license to pull off that 45 kick and get us going, and we just need him playing his best to get this win-loss ledger back to a bit more even, lads.
Yeah, I think definitely last year he's sort of one of those players you don't realise how lucky you are until you lose him for a couple of weeks. And we definitely felt that last year. He's such a hard runner. He runs really hard defensively for us as a mid, and it just allows some of our other more attacking mids like Chad and Isaac to do their thing ahead of the ball. So he's a really important player. Such a loved teammate by everyone, and it's awesome to see him get the 100th up this week.
And I touched on that. His versatility is awesome. Like he's kind of a Mr. Fix-It in his own right. So he'll play forward. He probably can't play out of the square, but playing forward, playing inside on the wing, half back, and he'll get it done for you. He knows his roles really well, which is good.
It's definitely been a focus piece of what I think Coxie's implemented. Is having that versatility, be able to go back, go forward, and especially with the injuries that we've been hit with this year, it's a testament to the group to sort of be able to fight that adversity, and the guys be able to be agile in their roles as well.
Now we've gotten at least 10 minutes into this podcast without mentioning Chad Warner, and I said at the start of this year that we're not going to be mentioning Chad Warner, we're not going to speculate on the contract situation because we'll just all go nuts, and then I proceeded to speculate about it for about a whole episode. How was it after he signed? Were you hanging shit on him prior to that, or what was the situation internally?
And also just the gut feel, what you were thinking sort of at the start of the year, just sort of whether he was staying or going, and obviously ended up signing, what your gut feel was going into it.
Yeah, I think with Chatty, he's actually was quite open at the time, so there wasn't much speculation within the group. He'd just tell you how he's feeling, but once his decision was made, he told a few of us, or they're just finalising stuff. So we knew he was staying for a while before he signed,
sure.
Which was awesome. And the club's done such a good job in supporting him and his girlfriend and his family as well. So they've made it really easy for him. Big fat paycheck helped. He's awesome, and we're so grateful that we've got him for at least another 2 years.
Yeah, bloody hard.
A lot of young talents come through this year, unfortunately due to injury. Who's been the star for you guys? Breakout, yeah.
Gus, are you getting a good run at it at the moment?
Corey,
yeah, Bicey as well.
Bicey,
I think they've all in their own right done some impressive things, and they're all really hard workers too, which is the nicest thing. They don't come in just purely off talent. I know Bicey's got an elite left foot and pretty quick too. So but they've come in and worked hard, and I love all of them. But I think to see Gussie come in and actually jump in the midfield with me, and he's a tough, he's a little nugget. He's a tough nugget, and he knows his role and knows his, I guess, what he does best, and he doesn't try and exceed that in any way. He doesn't try to take the game on too much. He a bit of an in and under, clean, and dish it out to the boys that use it really well. So he's one that I'm excited to see how he goes for the rest of the year.
Well, we're excited. We'll all be there cheering you on Saturday night against the Crows, and hopefully we can get a dub. It'd be very good for morale. Big morale-based pod. Huge morale-based pod.
Yeah, we are, like, tend to get the feelings from the faithful, from the Swans, but everyone likes to vent to us, but it falls on our shoulders.
Big
every now and then. It's got to lift morale, and that's what we're doing this
Now,
week.
boys, we're not all just wearing sort of Doozy hoodies. Coincidentally, three of you started a seltzer brand, two of you earlier than the third. Let's get stuck into it because it's a really good story. Where did it come from? Who sort of had the idea? What were the early discussions? Get us inside the four walls of Doozy Boys.
Early discussions. We were in the Perth hub.
Beautiful. So this is...
Line, was it?
20, yeah, I can't even remember.
And
20, I reckon.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't know. We're just sitting around the table. Obviously, bored as batshit, and we had a sort of conversation. Like the whole table was just like, "What would you do if you started a business?" And we just like these random ideas came about, and then a day later, we're like, "Man, we actually have to start something. Like we should actually have a crack." And
like you and
me and Will,
yeah,
and ended up coming with the genius idea of making a couple of seltzers, and obviously it was massive in America, and we just thought, once we make it, no one will have it here, but there's about 100 million on them. And what else have we got?
Yeah, well, that's where the first sort of idea came.
Sure.
And so Ollie and I, asked around about some people we knew that worked in the alcohol industry, and pretty much just asked where to next. We've got an idea. How do we?
Like, so had you written up a business plan of sorts?
No, not so
were you
much.
just sort
It
of
was
like-
in the hub. It was an idea, and we needed a bit of help to bring it to life.
Sure.
So.
Isaac, and you smiling.
The brains of the family sit behind you.
So my brother, who's behind the camera, Harry, he was one of the first persons we called, and he definitely got the brains of the family, but he just sort of.
Let's not discount Alice.
Alice as well. Yeah, she came on a bit
Will's
later.
smart in his own.
Thanks, mate.
Pen's just pumping up everyone.
But from there, we engaged a creative agency, Richards Rose, who, all about branding, the beautiful cans you guys are holding. They're responsible for that, and essentially they just helped us market the idea, helped us bring it to life, and there's some other people that helped us as well throughout the way. That we've had so much help from whether it's Swans Foundation members to like family members that know people in the industry to help us bring it to life, and without them, we definitely wouldn't be sitting here, and without Megs as well. Our first big customer.
We are in the Club Valley Hotel, and I reckon they're probably one of the largest stockists of Doozy going around.
Absolutely.
Would that be fair to say?
Yeah.
Yeah, talk us through the connection with Megs. She's a huge supporter of us here at the podcast, and obviously backs you guys a lot as well. Talk us through the Club Valley Hotel and Megs as well.
Yeah, so pretty much early days, when me and Will were sort of stacking the car with Doozy cases and driving around all different pubs and bottle shops and stuff. And
Were you doing that yourselves? You were going to sell them to the pubs yourselves?
Pretty much, and a lot of F-offs and stuff like that, but we walked into the Chloe with absolutely zero hope that we'd get this over the line. And we just had like this little sheet of paper with, the colours of the can. And, I don't even think we had the can. And she just started laughing. And she was great. Like,
Did you know her before that?
Nah, never met her.
Wow.
Yeah, and then we've just built like a massive, rapport with the Chloe and Megs, and it's just been, one of our biggest pubs, a bit, which has been great.
Name Doozy. Any story where it came from? Was there big discussions? Was there other names that you came up with?
There was a long list of names, and we landed on one.
Give us a few.
think one of the very first one was Let's.
Ooh.
Let's.
Let's.
There was another one that was trademarked by a winery. What was it, eh? Dabble. So I think there was some
Gambling company.
and a bit of a ABAC or RSA issue with encouraging drinking, but having a dabble. So didn't end up going with that, and then our creative agency gave us a massive list, and Doozy just jumped out at us. It's about celebrating the imperfections of life and the little stuff ups you have, and
we have a little saying on the pod.
We love it's like have a doozy while telling a doozy.
Yeah,
we go with that a fair bit on the pod.
That's what it's all about. Just just enjoying life with your mates and having a doozy.
That's right.
Now the great man sitting between you. How did you get involved, teens?
I jumped in myself. I was like, I want a piece. Nah. I don't know. I think it was just we'd talk about it in the change rooms, and then I think it was myself. I was like, if you need someone to come on board, I'd love to. And then from there, it was pretty smooth sailing. And it was I don't know how long was it in. From once you launched, it was like 6 months or so.
Yeah, it was pretty early days.
Early investor.
Early investor.
Cash injection from Isaac.
It's a smart business model. He saw the writing on the wall. He's like, I need it on this boys.
Worked for both parties. We needed a pretty head, and I didn't cut it, so we got Isaac on board.
Were there any sort of early, what the fuck are we doing? This is too big of a job. How are we going to get this done? Sort of thing.
Yeah, I think as Ollie sort of touched on before, we for a long time Ollie and I were the 2 sales reps, and we filled our car up. We probably had 50 cases.
That's phenomenal.
You couldn't get someone in the front seat of the car, and we'd just go door knocking, and we'd be out in North Sydney, then we'd be in West, and then we'd to the east, and sometimes you'd come home without a sale and go.
I love that. I love that you're having a crack yourself.
Yeah.
No, Will's back was just spasming up.
The club was like, what's going on with his back? Early training. And then we grew. We slowly grew, and now we've got our head of sales who's behind the camera as well, Phil, who runs our operations.
He's a good man,
and
Phil.
He's a great man. He does such a great job, and certainly puts Ollie and us to shame when it comes to sales, but. Well, that's how good he is. But the origins, and I'm glad that we did that and experienced that. We were out in the field selling for probably a year or two ourselves before we were able to afford someone else to come and work for us.
I bet you learned heaps.
Yeah, absolutely. You definitely do. You learn definitely resilience, and you just a bit about business and sales, but also a bit further on, you talk to potential investors and have these conversations that you wouldn't have otherwise. So it's an awesome
I'm sure
experience.
it's a real eye opener to business and what goes on. You can get in your own little AFL bubble, and you know what you're doing every day of the week, and to start what initially is a small business and then to grow it out into what it is today. It's sure it's a real eye-opening experience. And have you got any good knockback stories of when you've gone on the hustle into a pub or a bottle shop and it just sort of hasn't quite got it over the line, and then any good stories out of them?
There's plenty. Ollie and I, one of our biggest things we couldn't do for a long time, or we didn't feel comfortable, was telling people that we're Swans players, and this is backed by Swans players. We've got Isaac Heeney on board, and we just weren't comfortable speaking about ourselves like that. And Harry was like, boys,
so you wanted to do it on your merits.
Yeah. Harry was like, boys, you've got to drop the Swans. You've just got to.
I'll copy the jersey.
And so when we started offering, a signed Guernsey or free tickets here and there, the sales definitely increased a little bit. But there was one pub. Maybe we won't talk about which one because it's a good venue now, but took a long time to get into, but finally cracked it.
Yeah, and they must be the success stories, and when you actually break through, it's like that's a great boost for morale, isn't it, boys?
Yeah, I think another cool thing to see is when you just walking around, you just see an empty Doozy trash up, can on the ground. That's
I made that.
That's good. And let's talk about the product itself. You've obviously done a lot of work on the cans and the designs, and
the social media is very slick. Very slick.
And you've branched out into different products as well. So it initially started off with the seltzers. How was the process of producing a seltzer and the flavours? Was there a lot of testing and stuff that went into them? And I suppose it's not going to be a quick thing producing a product, I'm sure.
Yeah, we had to, do a lot of taste testing, a lot of trial and error with the seltzers. I think initially we had lime, mango, and water. It was lime and mango, and we tried them out. And what? Yeah, well, it was a lot of fun. Like a lot of them, tasted horribly, and then you just sort of get that feeling. That's the one.
Were you spitting out stuff at stages? Like, were there some shocking tests?
Yeah. Send them back straight away. Had one sip.
I can't have my name to this.
Yeah.
There's also like some of the hard things is a lot of the times you can't taste it carbonated.
Yeah.
So you sort of need to guess what it's going to taste like because it's
Fizzy.
Yeah.
Chuck it in the soda stream just to test
Yeah.
it.
No, we had a lot of fun with that testing samples, but sometimes you're like, oh, that's not good, but then you get a carbonated version. Oh shit, that's actually pretty good. Yeah. So a lot of that, but some of the that was some of the good times sampling the first ever seltzers we made. I've got a selfie in our living room. I think the first time we ever did it. So to look back on that to sort of where we are now is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Now, I'm unfortunately afflicted with celiac disease, so when I saw they were gluten-free, that was obviously a pretty big selling point for me. Was the plan when you were sort of initially started making them, did you want to make it sort of as, I guess, not bad for you as possible, as much as an alcoholic drink can be, like low on, some of the cans are low on sugar, gluten-free? Was that sort of a deliberate thing that you wanted to make in the product originally?
Yeah, I think so. Like, you don't want to drink 1,000 beers in your off season because then you get your tongue away and start breathing out your neck. So he couldn't say no to a seltzer horse. He loves him. No.
Did you drop a few cases over the big fella's house?
No, we had a launch party actually, which was really hilarious.
Oh yeah.
Had a few of the coaches come down, like Macca and Coxie, and if you ever bump into them, ask them what happened. It's really funny. But yeah, actually, everyone got COVID at that event.
Super spreader event.
Like 8 dudes, and like you had 24 of them, and got COVID. Like, come on.
It's not Doozy's fault.
Yeah. Bit stiff, and it was also 38 degrees on the rooftop.
Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah, it sounds like an absolute day for
Yeah,
it.
it
Definitely, and then you've gone into the half and halves as well. You've got the iced tea and the raspberry lemonade over there. What was that sort of? Where did you take that inspiration from, and how did that idea come to fruition?
Yeah, so actually before we did those, we had the vodka range, which are our black cans, which you can still find in selected stores around the country. But this one, credit actually goes to Harry once again.
Shout out, Harry.
He, correct me if I'm wrong, Hev, from over there, but he drew inspiration from Arnie Palmer, which is a common drink in America, half lemonade, half iced tea, and I think he got a few sent down from America and had a taste and said this is the play. So we had a taste and straight away agreed. We absolutely love them. That's my favourite by a mile.
Yeah.
That's my favourite.
Yeah, it's the best one.
So credit goes to Harry on that. So
Few credits go to Harry.
yeah, I know. That's why he's here. I think if he wasn't staring us down, he wouldn't get anything. That's where that one came from, and it turned out really well.
Yeah, it's good, and you got the seltzers, and you got the double blacks that we used to love back in the day. You always had the Smirnoff double blacks. We don't talk about them. You go the old Doozy doubles now, and they get it done as well. Love a double lemon. That's where.
Then a few fellas end up in the gutter after.
They creep up on each other.
Creep up like a lot.
This time of years, there's been a couple of beds up here post Chloe session.
Is the Chloe?
The local?
Yeah. Well, is it your? Where are you heading? Is it your local? Pretty much.
I'm in Maroubra.
Yeah, sure.
These fellas are north. Oh no, you're Coogee. You're down. You're down the. He's still in the hood. He's up on our way.
Yeah, sure. But you get down here a fair bit.
We're here all the time. That's probably why when Ollie said, we came in here with no hope because it's just such a good venue.
Yeah.
So to have the relationship we do now, I think on days like Anzac Day they buy 800 cases.
Yeah, a bit of two up. Two up in a Doozy. Doesn't get much more Australian than that.
Exactly.
It's hard to beat it. Like the courtyard out there. So it's nice to get Sydney, I reckon, and it gets packed too. So it's pretty epic.
Yeah, it's the best.
Yeah, there's no better place to watch for a Swannies game when they're not playing in Sydney. Get to the Chloe. You've got the biggest screen in the Southern Hemisphere downstairs.
Love to tell us.
Yeah, we love going with that one and having a few doozies. They've got the doozy specials for, up until first goal. Hopefully that only goes for about 30 seconds in the front. But the Chloe are a huge supporter of us and you guys as well. So yeah, big shout out to them.
And boys, what's the plan from here? I mean, you've got pretty significant penetration across Sydney. I know you're having a crack in Melbourne as well. What's the sort of short to medium term plan for Doozy?
Yeah, I think at the moment it's just still growth.
Yeah.
We just want to get bigger and bigger. We'll hopefully eventually start getting them in a keg so we can just get them off the tap and you can get them down like that. But
Dangerous.
yeah, we'd love to have it in the SCG.
How good with that? That's
so
the next natural.
That's
Having it at the W is amazing.
Yeah.
Kingston Park, the best.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so stuff like that. So it's obviously the seltzer partner of the club, which is really awesome as well. So to hopefully get some conversations going and try and get it in the SCG. Maybe we get the True Bloods listeners to sign a petition or something like that to get it right.
It's not what you know, it's who you know. We might have to find our way into Maryvale and say, look, we've got this drink, the boys are on board, it makes a lot of sense,
It's much better than the current seltzer in there. Let's just say that.
Very good, very good. Well, boys, it's a huge game. We might jump back into some footy. Like the Doozy story, how good. Where can we get some doozies? If we want to go out and buy some doozies, where can we get them, fellas?
Always one question. Dan's, BWS, and there's Coles, isn't it? So
They're all over BWS in Melbourne for sure.
If you go to our social media page, there's a link in our bio to Doozy Instagram page for a store finder there. So go in there and try and find your nearest local and grab a 4-pack or a case. And
you guys love to shop at a random bottle store, it looks like, from time to time, so you never know, you might be there.
Yeah, we'll try and get hands down there.
Don't drink all season.
So huge game against Adelaide this Saturday night, boys. After a disappointing result last Sunday against the D's on the G, how can we go about rectifying the performance that was on Sunday? What are the main objectives for you boys?
Yeah, I think the biggest one as a team was probably just our contest. Getting beaten, sort of when there's even numbers, you need to you win or half as many as you can. Obviously, clear is pretty obvious. But the more we can, I think we lost way too many last weekend, especially back half. So if we can halve a few, especially exiting out of defensive 50. If we can halve or win those contests, it goes a long way to retaining the ball.
And that was, one of our strengths last year, right?
Absolutely. And then the amount they've been able to rebound this year has been something that we're working on. So that comes with continuing building our connection, our synergy, moving the ball, but also in defence. So we're putting that to work, and we had a great week on the track. So hopefully we can bounce back quickly. We know it sometimes can be a bit of a slow response in terms of when you implement new things. It can take a little while to actually really kick in, but at the same time, we're confident. We've got an amazing side. Not too different from last year. So,
and don't get me wrong, we're cognizant. You've got a new coach, and even though it's not, super different to the game plan that Horse was doing, it presents challenges that couple with injuries. So, we're a patient fan base, and we know our top end talents as good, if not better than anyone. So, in comp, at the end of the day.
Will, what are you looking to do this week, babe? What's the objectives for yourself? Have you got to set your eyes on someone to take out and execute yourself?
Just kick 6.
Yeah, I hope we just kick a couple. But as I mentioned before, just being really sound defensively. I think a big thing we'll need is our forwards to get up and empty out so we can support our defence with their 3 big boys. So that's something that I'll try and lead with the forwards, getting them out and sliding up the ground, and then hopefully we can use our speed and turn back to goal.
For sure, and I think one of the highlights for us so far this season has been Big Pete Laddams finding his way into the side. I'm sure it looks like he brings a lot of energy from the outside, and when he went for that bicycle kick the other week, I thought the Barongal stand was going to come down. It was amazing.
I was right there ready for the handball receive, and when I saw if it was anyone else doing that bicycle, I would have lost my shit. But because it was Bissell, I was just like, That is fucking hilarious.
Pisser, he brings a lot to
He,
it.
he seems like an absolute weapon, Pistol Pete. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, he's a
He's
classic.
sleeping. No, he's a very unique character. He's such a hilarious guy. He does bring a lot of energy to our side. Yeah, he's a good fella.
Yeah.
And Caleb Mitchell finding his way back into the side. He's gone back to VFL level, found that form, and earned a spot in this side, hasn't he?
He's been good. Yeah, you go. No, you're right.
Yeah, no, Caleb's he's been putting some really solid performances in the twos, and he's definitely been pushing his way into the side. And like as much as you don't want to be like your spot taken, like it's actually quite healthy competitiveness for the younger guys to come through, and it makes me get better, and I want to see him do well. He's my teammate, and he's been putting in the work.
Great to see, isn't it? For sure.
One thing that I really loved, unfortunately, with Millsy being out, is seeing the difference between you and Rowie captain. When do you get to find out who gets to captain for the week?
Depends if Rowie runs out there before I do. We had a couple. I think Coxie forgets half the time. It doesn't really make a difference with who's captain. All you got to do is go and coin toss and a little chat pre-game.
You're all leaders at the end of the day.
Exactly. Everyone's got their own. Everyone leads in their own way. But I'm not great at that sort of the last minute huddle pump up. So I generally pump it off anyway. So.
You're actually fine.
Right?
You keep talking yourself down.
I like this bit of direct feedback.
Yeah,
You're good at it. You're good at it.
I'll lose my shit in the weekend then. Someone's like, oh no.
I've been told I'm really good at this, guys. What's this doing?
Maybe that just might spark the reaction we need out of it. Let's get in there.
Trying different things.
I reckon you take it this week.
Mate, this is your
How would your pump up go? Do you reckon you'd back yourself in to do it?
Honestly,
Three-quarter time, you're down by 4 goals. How do you reckon Wilbert goes?
I reckon I'd be alright if it was just like on the spot. If someone told me, a week out that I need to do a speech at half time,
Right on a whiteboard. No.
But if someone was like, just get the boys up,
That's quite similar to the dynamics with Mads and I. So I'm sort of a bit better on the fly, where Mads is a bit more of a preparer. So you need that diversity amongst the lads.
It's the very first time I went out there, and I think it was at round 1. I think we didn't get smacked, but we lost.
We lost to Hawthorn.
Yeah, and that leading up to the week, I'd written things in my phone and practiced it with my girlfriend. And I was like, then I was like trying to put my phone down and not read it, and I was like, this is not good. And then Coxie got me and goes, if you need to, just pump it off to one of the boys that's an energy giver and just give me them. And I was like, done. Done.
It's good that Coxie backed you.
Mate, that's the insight we love here. That's fantastic.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Who does the best 3/4 time?
Oh, Millsy's
Is
real
it good?
good.
Is Millsy good?
He's real clear. He gets a good understanding of when to crack.
But are we talking language? Are we talking F and C?
No. He's real composed with it.
Yeah.
Whereas then you go to Paps and half the words you can't understand, and the other half of the swear words you can understand, and then you're like, fuck, alright, he's got the words up. Let's trip in.
Sometimes it'll be like halfway through and be like, and then just like admit that you messed it up, and everyone just sort of runs out laughing.
That's motivating in itself.
It puts a smile on your face.
But it's actually nice when people do fuck up and they get on with it. Don't worry about it. It's like, oh, who cares? And the boys like, oh, it actually doesn't matter. Like,
You're better off leaving the huddle with a smile on your face.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Oh, good. Oh, that's probably a good note, Deebs.
That just about wraps us up, doesn't it? Well, look, this has been True Bloods, the #1 independent Sydney Swans fan podcast. We're #1 in your hearts and #1 on the charts. Speaking words of wisdom after the party.
We'll be right back.